Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be looking at my face palette collection. So in case you've been missing them, I am doing a collection video for each category. So far I have done already my eyeshadow palettes. I've done all of my like bronzers, highlighters, and blushes. So I thought the next best place to go would be my face palettes. So each of these palettes are all of those categories. Some of them are all blushes, some are a mixture of blushes, bronzers, highlighters. Yeah, that's what we're looking at now. That's what's in this drawer here. So I will get into that in a second. But like I mentioned, I've already done the other face products, individual ones, and my eyeshadow palette. So the rest of the categories that I have left, I wanted to ask you guys if you want to see collection videos on them. I don't know if those are going to be boring or not. So like lip products, foundations, concealers, face powders, like setting powders, eyeliners, mascaras, and individual eyeshadows. Do you guys want to see those collection videos? I was thinking for like lip products, maybe doing like my lip gloss collection, and then doing like maybe red lipsticks and then pink lipsticks and then neutral lipsticks. I don't know. Let me know what your guys' recommendations are moving forward for the rest of my collection. I thought that the ones that I've done so far, including this category here, are the most interesting. They're the ones that I tend to like to watch from other creators. So I thought I would share this today. But moving forward for the rest of my collection, let me know if you want to see them in the same style that I have been doing, where I just open the drawer and show you individually everything and try to swatch as much as possible. So give me your feedback on that, but let's go ahead and jump on into this drawer. I obviously have a lot in here. So sitting on top, I have this little Smashbox contour trio. This is actually in my everyday makeup drawer right now, so that's why I have it sitting on top. I want to move it back there when I'm done talking about it, but this actually came as a 500 point perk. So it's not currently available as a 500 point perk, but Sephora does recycle those perks quite often. So if you see this as a 500 point perk, definitely get it. This is a really, really nice little powder trio. I love it. I think every single one of the powders in here works great on my skin tone. If you have a deeper complexion, even like medium, probably too deep complexion, this is not going to work for you. But if you have a fair to light complexion, this is a really nice little contour trio. I feel like it came with some other products as well. I think it had like a primer in there and some other things as well. But this was the only thing I kept from the set, and I really got it for this item. But I definitely thought it was worth the 500 points. So okay, I gotta get more comfortable here. Okay, let's go ahead and start in this front row here. The first thing right up front, I have this Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. This is a contour little duo here. So you get your contour powder and a highlighter. They're very subtle, but they're very, very nice. The only thing is this product is extremely expensive. I cannot remember the price off the top of my head, so I'll put it somewhere on the screen here, but it's very expensive and I don't really think it's worth the price. It's nice and I will use it. I'm not going to declutter this when I do my declutter because it is a very nice powder, a very nice product, but in my opinion, I don't recommend going to buy this. I think I wasted my money on this. If you wanted something similar, there are drugstore options that I think are very similar. It's good, like don't get me wrong, I will use this, but it's not anything like really special in my opinion. So, all right, I have a few products that I've gotten in this drawer from Boxycharm. I feel like Boxycharm and Pure in particular often come up with little face palettes like this. So this one is a more recent one that I got in a Boxycharm. It's called the Bronze and Brighten. This is what it looks like on the inside. You get a blush, a highlighter, and technically, I think this is supposed to be a bronzer, but I would never use it as a bronzer. The blush is a really nice, really bright color, but you can diffuse it a bit. I'll just show you swatches on this whole set here. These are very intense. Like you could totally use the bronzer and the blush more as like eyeshadows because of how intense they are. They would work really nicely as an eyeshadow actually. I was just looking at this thinking how pretty that one would be on the eyes. This I would never use as a bronzer. It is way too shimmery and it looks a little bit almost coppery. So for that reason, I don't think I'm gonna get you guys' angle better. I don't think that would be a good bronzer on my skin tone. Maybe on a like more deeper skin tone that might be pretty for a glowy bronzer, but I don't know, that just would not work for me. I do love this highlighter though. The highlighter is stunning. It has a beautiful amount of shimmer. It's actually really, really pretty. I think this palette would complement a medium skin tone much better than a light skin tone. Next up, I have this palette here from Tarte that I've talked about quite a bit. This is the Park Avenue Princess palette. They do still sell this, I want to say, on their website, but not on Sephora anymore. In here you get the matte version of the Tarte Park Avenue Princess Bronzer. I have a full size of the one with the shimmer, but I do only have this in this palette. And then you get a blush and a highlighter in here as well. I think this is a much better version from the last palette. Like this color combination in here is very similar, but this is more for a lighter skin tone, so it complements me a lot better. So there are the swatches of that. As you can see, these look a lot more natural on my skin tone compared to these. But I'm not saying these are bad. These would be really good on a deeper skin tone, but this is more my skin tone. So I really love this palette. I think it's really great. If it is still available on the Tarte website, I will link it below so you can check it out. I really like the quality on this one. Next up, I have this Kevyn Aucoin Neo Limelight Incandescent Glow. This technically is just one highlighter, but because of how it ombres from like a light, almost like a light peachy color to a purple, you can get so many different colors out of this one highlighter that I just called it a palette, because it really technically is. It's several different highlighters in one. You can swirl your brush to get one look, or you can do what I just did and concentrate your brush in one area or the other. But you can see it goes from like a light peachy color to a darker purple. So for that reason, I put it in this drawer. Plus the size of it is in line more with my palettes than my individual highlighters. So that's another reason it's in this drawer. But I think it's really, really pretty. The pigmentation is not fantastic. It can be a little bit on the powdery side, but you can build it to get a more intense color. So definitely, like, you could even use this like as an eyeshadow. When you build it up, as you can see, you can get a pretty intense lavender color from the darker portion of the palette. So I think it's a really unique product and is very versatile as well. So I did actually receive this item for free from Octoly to try out, and I've used it quite a few times. I think it's a very unique product. All right, I turned down my ring light. I feel like you guys were maybe just a tiny bit washed out. It's tough on these cloudy days to get lighting right, so I apologize if it keeps changing. The clouds are like going in and out from in front of the sun. But anyways, this here is from Etude House. This is a Korean beauty brand, and you can find it on a couple different websites, so I will try to find a link for you on this as well. This is called a Face Designing Contour Palette. So inside here you get basically like a highlighter. This is supposed to be a bronzer, and then you get a contour. This is actually pretty darn decent for the price. This is actually a very affordable brand. I feel like that bronzer there is just a little bit too light on my skin tone, but if you're very fair, that might work for you. So my hand is super dry, but you can see kind of what those look like. I think they're really pretty. Now they're very, very natural products. Like the look of it is very soft and natural. It's not an intense product whatsoever. So you do have to have a pretty fair to light skin tone for this to even show up on you, but the quality is pretty good. All right, next I have this a limited edition blush palette from Becca. I want to say this was holiday 2016, I believe. It was when I was still working at Sephora, so it must have been in 2016. You have 3 blushes that come in here. So you do get 3 blushes in here. So even though this particular packaging is no longer available, I think you can still get all 3 of these. So this shade here is called Snapdragon. This one here is Songbird. And this one is Wisteria. And Wisteria might have been just in this palette. You might not be able to get that individually, but I know you can get these first 2 still. I know that they sell those individually. So let me go ahead and swatch these for you. All right, so here's our swatches. This one here is the Snapdragon. It's a very nice, like peachy pink color. In the center is Songbird. I feel like a lot of people talk about it. It's kind of a orangey bronzy shade. And then the last one, that very light one there, is Wisteria. So that might be the only one that you can't still get, but it's not really anything special, I don't feel like. I feel like that blush is very, I mean, it's okay. It doesn't have as good of pigmentation as the other 2, and it's not really a unique color. Next up, I have this palette here. This is another one that came to me through Boxycharm. This is from the brand Realher, and this is called the Be Fearless, Be Limitless Blush Kit. This is what the inside looks like. So you're basically getting 3 blushes in here. I do like the fact that the blushes in this palette are very different. Sometimes when you receive these blush palettes, they all look very similar, but these are very, very different. I'll go ahead and give you swatches. Now they are a little bit scratchy. They're a baked product, and I feel like they pick up better on a brush than really on a swatch. Like, I don't even know if you're gonna see these, to be honest. Like, this one I can't get it to swatch whatsoever. Do you see that? Like, I can't pick it up on my finger. So, I don't know. I just don't feel like the quality on this is that fantastic. Now, like I said, though, it does seem to pick up better on a brush. So, I feel like this is one of those products I'm going to want to pull in and try out again before I decide if I'm going to declutter it. So, maybe on my next rotation, you might see me pull this in before my round of declutters begin, because I feel like I'm on the fence with this product. But yeah, that's what that looks like. Next up, we have one of my favorite things from this drawer. This is from NARS. This is called the Banc Sable. It is a highlighting palette. You do get 3 highlighters inside of this palette. I love this so much because the quality is fantastic, but these are also all colors that I can wear on my skin tone, which it is sometimes hard to find in a highlighter palette, one that is going to work for you. A lot of times with these palettes, when it comes to face products, you might have like 2 shades in there that you'll use and then a couple that you don't want to use. But with this one, all of these I love so much. Let me swatch them for you. So I love all of these. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see these swatches. It's a little difficult to swatch highlighters, but hopefully you can see them well enough. The one in the center there is that lightest shade. That one is called Rivage, I believe. It's a really pretty, kind of a frosty champagne. And then the one right below that is called Sale. That one's more of a golden champagne. And then the top one at the top of my hand there is called M. Bruns. That one is a little deep on me, but it's kind of a rose gold. It's a lighter rose gold though. It's not as dark as like the Becca rose gold, which I could not pull off on my skin tone. It's a little bit lighter. So what I like to use that for is a blush topper or on my eye, but it's one that I can pull off if I use it the right way, and I really do like it a lot. The next palette I have in my collection is from Tarte again, and this one is called the Rainforest of the Sea Skin Twinkle. This is the number 1. I feel like they've come out with, have they done 2 more since this one? I can't remember. I know for sure they at least did 1 more of the Rainforest of the Sea Skin Twinkle, but I think they might have done 2. This is what it looks like on the inside. I feel like they don't sell this one anymore, but if I can find it, I will link it for you. It's hard to tell with these limited editions sometimes because they'll go away for a while and then they're back. So you think it's gone and then you see it when you're linking products. So anything in this drawer I can find, I will link for you, okay? But I do like the outer 2 shades in this palette. The outer 2 shades are really beautiful highlighters and they have a really nice shimmer to them. They glow. I really enjoy them. They're a little bit more subtle. You have to kind of build them. I don't know if you're even going to see those 2 swatches here and here because they are very, very subtle. But this shade in the middle is very strange. It's got this weird scratchy consistency. It almost feels like a setting powder, but it doesn't set anything because I've tried using it to set my under eye and it doesn't actually set anything. So it's a very odd powder, and I feel like that's the reason they discontinued this palette so quickly and came out with a second one, is because people hated this powder. And I just don't know what they were thinking with that. I don't really even understand what their intention was for that powder, because like I said, it doesn't really set, but it also is not a highlighter. It's matte and scratchy. It's very strange. So anyway, that is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Skin Twinkle palette. All right, next up, this is one I hate to even show because I know a lot of you wanted to get your hands on this and didn't. They did bring this back once or twice. I don't know if they're gonna do it again, but this is the Becca and Jaclyn Hill face palette. Now, a lot of these products that are in this palette you can still buy individually. In fact, I think maybe everything, because they have inside of here, you have Champagne Pop, you have Prosecco Pop, and then you have 3 of their blushes, which are, it's so reflective, I'm sorry if I'm blinding you. This one is Rose Spritz, the one in the middle is Amaretto, and then we have Pamplemousse. I think Amaretto might have been exclusive to this palette. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do know both of the highlighters, and I do know both of the highlighters are definitely still available. As far as the blushes, I'm not sure, but I will go ahead and swatch this for you guys. All right, so here are the swatches. So we have the blushes here on the top. That first one is the Pamplemousse, and then we have Amaretto, and then I think it's Rose Spritz, Pamplemousse. Rose Splits, Amaretto, Pamplemousse. And then we have Champagne Pop and Prosecco Pop. But yeah, that's what they look like. I feel like it's really hard to see these on camera. Those highlighters, they're just so hard to get a good angle on for you guys. But hopefully you can see that well enough to kind of get the gist of it. And like I said, I know you can get these still, but these ones I'm not sure which ones are permanent and which were limited to the palette. But Becca is one of those brands, if you want something from Becca and it goes away for a while, you can almost guarantee it's going to come back at some point. And I know for sure this came back at least once, I think even 2 times. All right, next up we have another limited edition. So this is the Nars Steven Klein palette. NARS is one of those brands that is constantly doing these limited edition. Pretty much every single palette they come up with is limited edition, but the shades that they use in them are recycled. So you will often see these types of palettes. This is a face palette, which has the NARS Laguna bronzer in here. You have this contouring powder, which is called the Paloma powder set. So you get a like a contour shade and highlight. This is the Paloma set. And then you have these 4 blushes. So you have, this shade is called Robotic. This is called Blasphemy. This one here is called Luster. And then we have Dolce Vita. Dolce Vita is part of their permanent line for blush. So for these blushes, I think that they are really, really pretty. They're coming up a lot more dusty on camera than they are in person. Let me turn my light down a bit more. I think they are really pretty colors, very wearable colors. I do get a lot of use out of this palette. I mean, when I pull it out, I use it a lot. I do need to pull it out more often. It's just one of those things. I have too much product right now, so things are not getting used as much as I personally like them to be used. That's why I'm going to be doing a declutter soon. But I think this is a really good quality. I love the formula of NARS face powders. I think they do a fantastic job. I am not going to swatch this whole thing because we are getting really up there on time and that would take a long time to swatch every single item, but I do really, really like this palette. All right, next I have this little palette here, which I actually talked about in a video recently. This is from Laura Mercier. This is called the Face Illuminator Collection. Again, limited edition. I do apologize. A lot of these products in this drawer are, but you can buy all of these individually. These are basically just her face illuminators. There's 4 shades in here. So we have the lightest one here is called Infatuation. This one here is called Indiscretion. And then moving down, we have this one is called Devotion, and then Temptation. Those are the shades in here. I like these a lot. I do have Indiscretion in a full size already, which I don't really need both, but I think these are really, really stunning highlighters. The quality is great. They're very beautiful amount of pigmentation. They are a little bit more on the intense side, which I don't mind, and I really love them. So I was really happy I decided to get this little palette here. All right, next up we have this here, which is from Pure Cosmetics. It's their Contour Diaries. It says tester on here because I actually got this from Octoly, and every once in a while when you get products in PR, you'll get a little sticker like that that says tester or sample on it, but that's why. So yeah, this is their Contour Diaries. I really like this. I think it's a great contouring and highlighting palette. You can really use these highlighting powders because they're all matte, every single one of them. You could use them as setting powders as well, or eyeshadows. I mean, it's a versatile little palette here. I do like the quality. I think that it blends out really nicely. I think you can tell from the usage on this palette, this is my favorite shade in here. It's a really, really nice contouring shade. It's got a very neutral undertone, which is great for contouring your face. So yeah, I really do like this palette quite a bit. This shade is too deep for me, but that's not a big deal. I feel like with almost every contouring palette, especially when you have 6 shades in it, there's going to be powders you can't use. So for me, these 2 powders are ones that I will not use, or I'll end up using as eyeshadow if I use them at all. All right, next up we have the Kat Von D Shade and Light contour palette. This is what mine looks like inside. Same thing with this as the last palette. So basically you've got all matte highlighters on top and then your contour shades below. These 2 shades are too dark for me. This little quad here is the ones that I would use on my skin tone. I've clearly used this guy and this guy the most, and you can see quite a dip in the middle of both of those. I love this for contouring. I love this for bronzing. This is a great cleaning up or setting powder. This one's nice too. It's a little too cool on my skin tone, but sometimes I'll mix these because I have a neutral undertone, so the warm doesn't always work great and the cool doesn't always work great. Sometimes I mix the 2, but overall I think this is a beautiful palette. I really enjoy this. I did do a tutorial using this, a contour tutorial, which I'll link above, but yeah, I really enjoy this palette a lot. Oh, by the way, I do have the old packaging on this where you can't remove the pan when you run out of one. Eventually, someday when I use this more, I might upgrade to the newer one where you can actually replace the pans if you run out of a product. Next up, I have this Aucoin Contour palette. This is supposed to be a dupe for the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. This came from the Shop Hush website and I think it's nice. I don't think it is as good as the Kat Von D one. It's a little bit powdery and patchy, so it does take more time to blend out and get a the look you want from this palette. You have to spend a little bit more time working with this palette. But again, you have all your matte shades on the top. Well, the whole thing is matte, but all your highlights are matte in here, so you can use them to set. Same spiel as the last two palettes. It's very similar, not quite as good quality, but the price point is incredible. So if you are on a tight budget and you can't afford those last two palettes, but you want a contour palette, you can make this work. It just takes a little bit extra time blending. All right, next up I have the Tarte, you guys, was this 2015 or 2016? I can't remember. This is the Bling It On Tarte blush palette. So every holiday season, Tarte comes out with a blush palette. And this one is called the Bling It On. I want to say it was 2016, but it might have been 2015. So you get 5 blushes in here: Fetching, Dollface, Prim, Smashing, and Beaming, and they are the same formula as the Amazonian Clay 24 or 12-hour blushes that they sell individually, and a few of these are permanent. I know for sure Dollface and Beaming are permanent. I can't remember about the other 3. But they're really nice formula. It's not my favorite formula, honestly, but I think that they are really nice. I actually, for some reason, prefer the formula in the palette compared to the individual blushes. I feel like something about those individual blushes, they go bad on me so fast. I've owned many of them and ended up decluttering all of them because I've owned them for such short periods of time, and then they get hard pan and they're impossible to get any pigmentation from. But I've had this one for a while, at least a year, maybe longer, and I don't find that. I still feel like I get good pigmentation from these for whatever reason. All right, whoo, that was a lot of talking and a lot of swatching, but let's move to the back row now. So next up I have this little palette here from Physicians Formula. This is a great little drugstore palette. It's called the Bronze Booster Palette. You have 3 shades in here, all matte again. So you have your matte highlight, a matte contour, and a matte bronzer. What's weird about this palette to me is that these are perfect for my skin tone. Both of these powders are perfection. This is a very neutral setting powder. This is a very cool undertone contouring powder, but this bronzer is so dark and so warm. Like, it doesn't go with these. The skin tone that works for these is fair to light skin tone. The skin tone that would work for this is more medium. So it's like, why did you do that? They don't make sense together, but that's a little swatch for you guys. They're a tiny bit powdery, a tiny bit dusty, but for drugstore, these are really good. All right, next I have this little palette from Sleek Makeup. This is called the Distorted Dreams palette. I did receive this one as well from Octoly. This has a combination of cream and powder products. So this one here, this one, and this one are the cream based, and then these 2 are your powders. The 3 cream based are supposed to be more of a duochromatic look, and then these 2 highlighters that are the powder highlighters are a little bit more basic, but I'll just show you some swatches. That's what they look like for the powder ones. So this one has like a kind of a pink glitter suspended in it. I don't know if you guys are gonna see that at all. Can you see that kind of? And then this one is more of a golden, peachy kind of glitter. They're very glittery though. They're not metallic, they're more like glitter. And then for the creams, I'm not really a fan of the creams, to be honest. Like, I don't use creams in general, but these ones are kind of not very good. I don't even know if you'll see those swatches at all. Maybe you can see that green one a little bit. The thing about the cream ones is they just don't blend very good. So they end up looking super, super patchy. They lift up your makeup underneath, and I don't know. I just don't like them. All right, next I have a little e.l.f. palette here. This is the contour palette from e.l.f. As you can see, I haven't used this much. So this is another one I feel like I really need to pull in and test out before I decide if I want to keep it or not. I think I might have used this twice. Like, I really have hardly used this, so I need to spend more time with it. I know a lot of people really love this palette, so I'd like to try it because I would like some good drugstore options in this category. Next up, I have this Anastasia blush kit. This actually came from, I actually found this at TJ Maxx. This is in the shade Radiant. I was so excited when I found this because I want to say it was like $10. I don't remember exactly, but I know it was super affordable. You get 4 blushes in here. These are so gorgeous. I like the formula on these quite a bit, and every shade in here is very different from each other. So there are the swatches. I think this is a really nice little palette. So if you can find this palette at TJ Maxx, I highly recommend it. I was really happy with that purchase. That was one of my favorite things. By the way, I was thinking about doing a like TJ Maxx, my favorite things I've found at TJ Maxx video. Let me know if you're interested in that. Next up, another little palette that I've gotten from Boxycharm. This is the Pure Sculptor palette. I think this came, yeah, this definitely came in my most recent Boxycharm for the month of May. This is what it looks like. I was really disappointed with this palette, you guys, because I feel like this is way too dark for my skin tone. You get 2 highlighters that are both shimmer highlighters and then 2 matte bronzing powders. I'll go ahead and swatch this because I have already swatched it. Otherwise, I would just put it in a giveaway, but I did swatch this already. These are pretty dark. The highlighters actually would work fine on me. They're not too dark in my opinion. This one's a little dark, but I could make it work. This one's perfect on me, but these are so dark. Like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, obviously there are skin tones that this would work for, but not with those highlighters. You know what I mean? So it's one of those situations again where I don't know. I don't understand the pairing. If you're gonna do this, that might be the lightest I would go with a highlight for this palette, and then another darker highlight, and then you could give this just to the deeper skin tones. But I don't know. It was kind of a miss. It does smell like chocolate though. All right, then next up I have this Kevyn Aucoin, the Contour Book Volume 2. I have Volume 1 as well, which we're gonna look at next. But Volume 2, I like this one better because of the layout is a lot better. The pan sizes are bigger. So I feel like Volume 1 was supposed to be meant for eyes and this is supposed to be meant for face, but I do keep them all in this drawer now because it's just easier to keep them together. But anyway, this is what you get. You get 4 face products and then these 4 eyeshadows on the bottom here. It is a little bit bulky. It's like a really thick packaging, but you do get a mirror and instructions in the front. So basically you have like a contouring and a bronzing and contouring powder here. This is a matte highlight, and then you have a shimmery highlight, which is really, really stunning. And then you have these eyeshadows. So I really do like this palette. I think that the quality is really, really nice. This one actually came to me through Octoly. I did get this one for free from Octoly. However, this first one here I purchased with my own money. I think I bought it on sale right before it was discontinued off the Sephora website. So that's how this one came to me. The packaging is very similar. You get that mirror, you get the instructions, it's a bit bulky. This one you basically get, well, I'm gonna say 6 eyeshadows because that's essentially what I use them for. This is supposed to be a face highlight, or I'm sorry, a face contour and a face highlight, but because of the pan size, I use them as an eyeshadow, and then you have your 4 eyeshadows. I think that the actual quality of these is great. They're really, really good, but there's so much wasted space in this palette. For basically 6 eyeshadows, this is a very big palette for just that, what you're getting in there. So I do feel like they wasted a lot of space. They could have condensed this down and made it more user-friendly so it wasn't taking up as much storage space. But the actual quality of his powders are incredibly nice. They blend really nicely, very pigmented. So I haven't gotten rid of it. You know, I've had this a long time and haven't decluttered it because I actually do enjoy it. It's just a little bit of extra space. All right, next up I have a couple of Anastasia glow kits. The first one I have is this Aurora glow kit, which I got during the Black Friday sale at Ulta. So I think it was like half off or something. I don't remember, but it was a good deal. You get six colors in here. They're those kind of like funner, more unique colors. You get some green, some blue, some purple, you know, some more wearable shades as well. They're really pretty. I think they're really pretty. They're kind of like almost like a holographic kind of thing. I do enjoy these, but I would use them more as an eyeshadow than a face highlight, so I just don't use them that often, but they are more of a fun kind of thing. And then I have this glow kit, which is the Sugar Glow Kit. This is my favorite of the glow kits that I have because all of these work great on my skin tone. That is why I enjoy them so much. So let me go ahead and swatch those. And I just feel like these are more wearable. So the last time that I had this in a rotation for my everyday makeup drawer, which has been a couple months, the last time I had it, I was using it like every day. I do really enjoy that a lot. And I'm gonna go ahead and slide back here and grab this next because I have one more glow kit that was hiding in the back. It's a little bigger, and that's why it's in the back, but this is the Nicole Guerrero one. I do like this, but I haven't used it in a long time, so I really should pull this back out. I find this one to be a little bit more chunky and a little bit more of like a chunky glitter rather than metallic. Some of the shades I think are nice. The 3 that I just swatched are my favorite 3 shades in here. Favorite 3, yeah, that's right. Some of these other ones I don't like as much. Like this one is very, very chunky. So I don't know. I think it's okay. All right, and then I have this Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting palette. Honestly, I don't technically need this palette. I feel like it's very similar to the Aurora one, and I do have a lot of these highlighters in individual pans, not the same colors, but a lot of these Mega Glow ones. And I just feel like the ones that I have individually, I will use more than these colors. I don't know. That colors would make a great eyeshadow. That would be really pretty. I don't know. I just don't use it. All right, last but not least, I have my MAC customizable blush palette. This I created myself. So that is what it looks like inside. Let me see if I can remember all these shades. I have such a hard time opening this up. Let me see if I can remember all of the shades. So I don't know if I remember any of these. I think this is called Tangerine. And I cannot remember. I'm gonna have to put it in the description box because I have it written down somewhere. So I will have to go look that up. But I do love all of these. Like I said, I put this together myself. So these are all shades that I enjoy. I think this is Margin, I wanna say. I can't remember. Anyway, I do like it. I think the formula is really nice. So yeah, I like that as well. All right, you guys, those are all of the face palettes that I have in my collection. Don't forget to let me know in the comment section down below how you would like to see the rest of my collection showcased. And very, very soon I am gonna get to my makeup declutter. I've had so many people continue to ask me questions about it, and I'll just let you guys know real quick. I am planning to finish up my house declutter first. So I'm making a sweep through my house, doing my house declutter, which in case you've missed that, I will put the playlist above. Basically, I'm going room by room. I'm working through my bedroom right now. I'm almost done with my bedroom, and then I'm gonna move into the hallway and then into the downstairs. Once I finish my house declutter, then I will get to my makeup. I just don't wanna overwhelm myself with too many projects, and I have a lot of projects going on right now. So I'm trying to not bite off more than I can chew. But those declutters will be coming very soon. I hope you guys did enjoy this collection video today, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.